Friends, it's Deanna here, and today we're sewing up the cutest of little purses, the carry-all purse, and it is super cute, and this is a great scrap buster, fat halves. If you have your nearest store, all of these fabrics actually came from Walmart, and I had like the dollar little fat halves, and so that's what it all came from. If you have fabric that you've used for something else and you want to use it up and get do like some cute little fun project, this is the perfect project for you, and it'll make your little ones super happy. But if you make it, you can also make it for yourself. So I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't want to rock this kind of purse if you make it cute enough. But before I get started, let me remind you of our fun fan giveaway where we're giving away a $50 Ellie and Matt gift certificate every month for one of our subscribers, and all you have to do is subscribe and then comment below. So pause the video right now, go subscribe, and comment below. You can let us know that you subscribed. You can let us know who you're making the purse for. You can let us know what you want to see us sew next time. Anything you want to tell us, we'd love to hear. So now, without any more talk, let's go ahead and get started with our pattern. I already cut everything out. I'm using the Ellie and Mac carry-all purse, so all my pattern is already cut out, and we're gonna get started. The first thing they want us to do is to grab our binding cutout and make it into binding strip. So how we do that, and that's my main binding strip. This is my pocket binding strip, so I'm gonna show you in this little one. It's super easy. I used to be all worried about, oh, how do I make my own binding? I just buy binding at the store, but now I just make it myself. It's really super easy. So we're gonna grab the piece and we're gonna fold it wrong sides together, down the middle, and steam. Then we're gonna grab the two sides, the two outer sides, and we're gonna come in to that mark that we just created when we make that half mark. See, we're going to the middle. So we're coming from the outsides, going to the middle, and steam. So now it's folded to two at the middle, and then we're gonna fold it right sides together, right at the middle. And that's my binding and steam. Binding, done, and done. That was super easy. So you're gonna do that with your pocket binding and with your other main binding for your purse. So I already did both of those. So I'm gonna put those aside because they're gonna come in handy in a minute. Then we're gonna move on to our pocket. So I'm gonna grab my pocket, and it's folded in half still, and I'm gonna mark my pocket, my placket. So what I did is I used just a marker or a pen or whatever you have, and I put little dots where the bottom is, where my dart is, and where it's gonna end up. I'm gonna turn it around and do the same thing for the other side, and obviously I'm turning my paper around because that is, I'm gonna do it on the fold. And I'm just putting little dot markings on where my pocket folding is gonna be, and then where it ends up at the bottom. And then I'm gonna grab my pocket and fold those darts in. So I'm matching up those two darts at the top and going all the way down to where that mark is, right here at the bottom, and steam. And I'm gonna do the same for the other side. The marks, and down at the bottom is where my line is, and steam. So I have made my pockets, my pocket pleat. But before I do anything else with it, and actually probably before I even mark it, I don't know why I did it already, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the raw edge first. Should have done that before I showed you how to do locket, but you can do it either way. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna serge this raw edge of the curved edge, the bottom edge. You can, so I'm gonna finish it up. If you don't have a serger, you can do a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine to finish up the raw edge. If you don't want to do that, you can just do fold over, quarter of an inch fold over, and a quarter of an inch fold over. That will work just fine, like you do a regular hem. But so I searched the rounded edge. But like I said, you could do fold over 1/4 of an inch, fold over 1/4 of an inch. And I'm just gonna fold it in. Because that, I'm not gonna sew it right now. But when I attach it, attach it to the purse, I want that raw edge to be folded in, so it will just be attached just on the folded edge, and it'll give it a hem. All right, so now let's do that. We're gonna fold it in half, and we're gonna find our center, so that way we know we're just giving it a little steam. We're just leaving it there, giving it a, so you know when you're gonna place it on your purse, you know where the center to line it up at, and then we're gonna go ahead and work on our pleats. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and pleat them and do the pleat again. Right here, here's my pocket. Let's go ahead and mark that again, because I folded it over. Mark, 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 and then the bottom. And then I'm gonna do it on the other side as well. Mark, 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 and then the bottom. Because you can't really see it when I folded it over. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. Going this way, meet those marks. And then fold over. And meet the mark at the bottom. There it is. And steam. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Meet those marks. Fold over at the mark. And make it match up right here at the bottom. And there is my pocket. Make sure you steam everything as you're going. That way it can stay nice and straight. Oops. That one. Fold it up. Alright. So now that I did that, I'm going to go ahead and grab my pocket binding and put it right side right on top of it. And now pocket binding is going to be a little bit longer than your pocket. That's okay. You'd rather it be longer than too short. And we're going to sew it right on that first line, right sides together, right on that right sides together at the raw edge. We're going to sew it right on that line, that first line. I'm just doing a straight stitch on my sewing machine. Okay, so now we're going to fold it up and we're going to come over, but before we fold this down, we're going to grab the sides and we're going to tuck them in so that they'll be in the inside, and then we fold this side down. So now my pocket, I'm going to show you what it looks like in a minute. Gonna pin it first, so that way when we attach it, the two sides will be down. See, I folded sides in, and then I folded it on top. So that's the front, this is the front, and that's my back. So my pocket is done. This is a really cute pocket if you wanted to add it to a top or anything like that. Now you know how to make this cute little pleated pocket. How cute is that? Now we're gonna attach it to our front. So you're gonna grab your outer bag, the front of your bag, and you're gonna fold it in half. Just so I know where my middle is. Open it back up. That line where I steams is my middle. I'm gonna find my ruler, if I can find one. I have a ton of them, but I can never find it, so I'm use this one right here. And we're going 3.5 inches from the top. And see, remember when we already marked the middle of our pocket? That's gonna match up with the middle of our front piece. So the middle of pocket with the middle of our front outer piece, and we're pinning that pocket right on. Make sure it matches at the bottom too. The middle goes all the way. That way it's even. And then I'm going to sew all the way around. Now, you're not gonna sew at the top because it's a pocket. You wanna be able to stuff things in. So we're gonna sew around the edges, all the way around the edges. Do a back and forth at the end, and back and forth at the beginning. Should have said beginning first and then end. But you wanna make sure that it stays stable on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew all the way around our pocket and move on to our next step. All right, my pocket has been sewn on. How cute is this? And so now we're gonna grab our liner, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to do the hook and loop right now because I kind of got ahead of myself and I already did it on my liner. So I'm gonna show you on this one, but let's pretend this is my liner. So we're gonna grab our liner front and our liner back, and we're gonna do this on both of them. So one is gonna have the front, the hook, and the other one's gonna have the loop of your tape. So here it is. Okay, so we're gonna grab our liner and we're gonna fold it in half. We're gonna do the same to the front and the back of the liner. And then we're gonna find 1.25, so inch and a quarter down from the top. We're going to mark it and we're gonna put our tape on there. Now this is a really long one because it was extra I had, but you only have to do like about an inch would be fine. And we're gonna put it right there. We're going to pin it and we're gonna sew it on. So we're gonna sew it to the front of our liner, and then we sew the other part to the back of our liner. And I already did that, so I put it aside. I'm sorry, and I didn't show you. I just did a straight stitch on my sewing machine. After you sew those on, you might wanna put a little bit of extra right on top of them to seal them so they don't start sticking to each other as you're trying to work with it, because they'll get annoying. So I just put the top on the extra stuff I had. So, all right, so my liner's put aside because I kind of already worked with it. So we're gonna grab our purse, and here's my outer, and we're gonna do the same thing to the liner. I already did it to my liner. I'm gonna show you on my outer. So we're gonna grab our outside. This is our around the edge part. It's called the what is it called? The bag body side. This is the bag body side. And we're gonna grab it right sides together. Right side of the bag's facing up. Right side of this is right on top of it. We're gonna start at the top edge and we're gonna go all the way down the side. And I'm gonna pin. And then it's kind of tricky, but I know you can do it. We're gonna go slowly around the edge. And I'm going to pin it. This step, when it comes to sewing, it's gonna be kind of hard because you're gonna have to do it slowly, turning as you go. This is not knit fabric, so it doesn't turn as easily, so you're just gonna have to do it slowly, as I did right there. So you're basically folding this up here and making it around right there. And when you're sewing it on, and I'm going all the way down, this is the bottom of my purse, and I'm gonna do the same thing at the other side. When you're sewing it on, you're gonna have to sew it really slowly and be turning it. It's okie dokie if your seam allowance gets a little bit bigger right there, just a little bit, it will be fine. I mean, you don't wanna cut it all out because then your purse won't be very wide. So you wanna make sure that you stay as close to the raw edges as possible. And the best way to maybe do it is if you wanna go ahead and do it with a straight stitch on your sewing machine and then go back and finish the edges. You can finish the edges either with a serger or with a zigzag stitch. It's really up to you. Or if you feel like you just want to leave it with a straight stitch on your sewing machine, you can put some fray stuff at the edge of your purse so it doesn't come fraying. If you just do a straight stitch and then you iron that seam open, it should be fine. It will be on the inside of the purse, so it won't get as much wear and tear. But finishing would be the best thing to do, obviously. I'm gonna do it with my serger because I am crazy. But I'm just gonna go along with my serger and I'm just gonna take it really slow around the corners. So you can do that with me if you'd like to use your serger, but if you don't, if you just wanna go ahead and use your sewing machine, that is fine. So I'm doing the side first and now I'm gonna go around at the bottom really slowly, making sure that it stays at the raw edges. And I'm turning it as I go. It really isn't too bad when you go around it. As long as you just make sure you're doing it slowly, it works out pretty well. And really once you go around that those corners, that's it. The rest is super easy. All right, where are my scissors? Here they are. Okay. So now we've done that. See? And it's right there in the corner. Take that pin off. We went around the corner. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other side of the bag. So that was my front side. Now we're going to do the same thing for my back side of my bag. So I'm going to put it face up. I'm going to stick my bag right here on top. So I'm going to open up the side kind of like this. So that way I can put my bag right on top of it because it's still right sides together. You still want to put it right sides together. So we're going to do right sides together to the other side. And I'm doing this to my outer, but you're also going to do it to the liner. So you're going to do to the outer and the liner. Right sides together. Make sure those edges right here around the circle, around the corner edge, if you need to put more pins on there, feel welcome to do it. This is really the trickiest part of this whole thing, and it really isn't even that tricky. So you are good. This is like a perfect summer little purse. So cute. Okay, I'm going around the corner here. And I shouldn't have grabbed it from this way. I should grab it this way. So that way this is the side part. So this is the one that I should be moving around, not the actual top. But it's okay. It works all the way out. Okay, make sure it's even. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and sew it up. I'll start on this side since most of my pins are facing the other way. Same thing I did to the other side. And here we go around the edge. Slowly make sure those corners are, those curves are meeting together. Make sure you're turning it as you go. Super cute. Tell me who you're making this for. So this one I'm actually making it for my little niece. I'm going to go see them. And I have 3 of them. Actually, I have 5 nieces, but 2 of them are too little to know that I make the other 3 something and them not. But these 3 are old enough. So guess what I'm doing later on today? Making 2 more of these. Because obviously I have to have one for each, right? So now we went ahead and attached it. Here it is. So now we're going to turn it right side out, and here is my main part of my purse. You can go ahead and steam it out if you want to give it a good crease or whatever you want to do right here. To the front, get rid of those creases, whatever. It's up to you. It's looking good. Okay, now like I said, we're gonna do the same thing to our liner. And here's my liner. Like I told you, I had already gotten ahead and done it. And here's my tape already attached, like I told you. I'm gonna turn it wrong side out, inside out, I guess is what you call it. And we're gonna tuck it in. I'm gonna trim this a little bit because my side piece was a little bit longer than was right here, and I think on my liner I did the same thing as well. Just making sure I trimmed a little tiny bit that came off the edge. And now we're gonna match up my seams. match up my seams. And after we match up my seams, we're going to baste that raw edge together, those raw edges together. I'm just doing a basting stitch so that way it doesn't come apart. So my basting stitch is just a long stitch on my sewing machine that is gonna keep the sides from coming apart when I'm trying to do other things with it. So I'm just doing a long straight stitch at the top to keep them together. So that way when I'm attaching the ruffle and everything, it doesn't come apart on me. And this thing you can, this straight stitch, this basting stitch, you can pull out when you're done. Okay, so my bag is almost done. It's looking super cute and super summery. Now we're gonna work on our ruffle. So here's my ruffles. And as you can already see, there's already some seams. The reason why, it's because I told you I was using fat quarters, and you know they're not very long. So I had to chop them together. I had to add them together, and that's okay as long as they're still long enough. So now I'm gonna meet those two ruffles together, the front and the back, and I'm gonna sew it right here. I'm gonna do the same for the other side. Meet them together and sew them. And then on one edge, we're going to hem the one edge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to serge the edge and fold it 1/4 inch and hem it. Or you can do, if you don't wanna serge it or finish it up, you can do 1/4 inch up and then 1/4 inch up again, and that will be your hem. And all I'm doing is a straight stitch on my sewing machine to hem it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hem the whole thing, and then we'll move on to our next step. My ruffle is hemmed. As you can see, I serged it first, I folded it over 1/4 inch, and then I hemmed it. So now it's an all around hem. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to gather this ruffle the width of the purse. So I'm gonna use a basting stitch again, and that's how I'm going to ruffle my purse, because it's not a very long piece to ruffle. So a gathering stitch to me will work just fine. I know that sometimes if we're doing like a big piece that we have to gather a whole lot, you might want to use something else. And if you have another method of ruffling that you like to use, feel more than welcome to do that. Let me know what you use. Sometimes I do the serger, and that is fine. But sometimes when it's really just a quick, it's just a little bit, I just do it on with my sewing machine. So I'm gonna find, here's my two sides and here's my middle. So now I know I still have those lines, so I know that this is how much it's gonna, I'm gonna gather in each section. So I'm gonna go ahead and gather. I'm gonna go this way, all the way over to my half point. So I'm just pulling my one thread and gathering it all the way over to my half point. And I'm going to gather it just half of the width of the bodice. So I'm putting those two together, the front and the back, and that's half. So that's already gathered the width I need to have gathered that side. And then I'm gonna go the other way and gather this other side. I just find that that's easier for me to do. And there it is, basically just a little bit more. And hold on, just a tiny bit more. That's the width, okay? So now I know I'm gonna pin wrong side of the ruffle to the right side of the purse, because you want the ruffle to be sticking out. So like I'm gonna pin this back to the outside of the ruffle, because that's the back, and then this is the front right here, and then I'll even out the ruffles. And here's my one side, so I'm gonna move half of the ruffles over to this side, to the back, so that they're evened out. And here's my half. Move them all the way to the back. And here's my half piece right here, so I wanna put that on the center since you might just have a front and a back on your ruffles because of the fact that if you had 2 long strips, you might want to, if you want to quarter it, so that way you know where the 4 sides are, that would work just fine. So this came on ruffled a little bit right here, so I'm going to have to pull it a little bit more so I can ruffle it a little bit more right here so it's even. This one's the one side, this is the other side, yeah. So I'm pulling it right here. So now that's even on those 2 sides, and you're attaching it to the liner and the outer of the purse. So I'm just pinning it right now. I'm not attaching it right now. I'm just pinning it, and we're going to baste it on because we're going to attach it when we actually put our binding. So we're just going to baste these ruffles on. Super easy. I know that sometimes we get all worked up about ruffles, but ruffles really are kind of easy if you, especially if you quarter your seams, then it's actually pretty easy to get them even. All right, and I'm just kind of pinning at different places so that way when I go to baste them on, they don't move around on me. Now I gotta do the same to the other side. My Velcro's trying to attach to each other. My hook and loop. Pinning right here on this 1/4 right here of my ruffle. Or in that pin. Hopefully I won't step on that later. And we're going this way, and it looks like it needs a little bit more ruffles on this side, so I'm going to move some ruffles over. Ruffle it more over here on this side. And I pull a little bit more over here to ruffle that side a little bit more. Needs to be more ruffled. I guess I could have fast forwarded this part so you don't have to hear me yap on about ruffles. Okay, I'm almost done now. Oop, now I ruffled it way too much. Now I gotta loosen it up a little bit. Here we go. That's my 1/4 right there, and make sure it's even right here. I love this so much. It's so cute. All right, even ruffles. And last but not least comes my front. Even out those ruffles, pulling them out a little bit and pinning. Like I said, now I'm going to go ahead and baste stitch this on at the top with just a long basting stitch so that when we come back with our tape, then it'll just be ready to go. So I'm just baste stitching this up here at the top. Alright, so my ruffle is basted on. Let me remove all these pins. We're almost done. Okay, so now we're gonna grab our, where'd it go? Here's our binding. We're gonna open it up, and on one of the edges, we're gonna fold it 1/4 of an inch in and steam. Okay, and we're gonna grab it and we're gonna put it onto our purse, right sides together, and we can start with the middle of it. Onto the ruffle, right sides together, and we're just gonna pin it all the way around the top edge of our purse. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did with our pocket. We're going all the way around, and then we're gonna sew it at that first folded line that we made. But I'm still going all the way around, pinning it. Probably faster than I am. Probably already done waiting on me. And when you get to the edge, you're going to overlap those 2 ends. Okay, I'm coming all the way around. If your fabric is doing the same thing mine is doing and there's frays everywhere, don't worry. When you're done attaching this one, you can go back and trim them all up. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, and you're gonna overlap. You want the one with the folded down edge to be at the bottom. So that way, that's the part that you will see. So now I'm gonna go in. See, it's attached to the raw edge. I'm gonna go in at that first line. I'm gonna do a straight stitch right there. I should not have put my pins that way because I don't wanna run over them. So now I'm gonna have to be removing one at a time. All right, straight stitch. I'll start at the back and go all the way around with my straight stitch. I'm gonna go ahead and use the straight stitch and go all the way around that, making sure my ruffles are cut. And then we'll get back and finish up the other side of the binding. I went all the way around, as you can see, and I sewed them together right there at the end. I went all the way around and sewed on that first line. Now I'm gonna grab it and fold that binding over the edge of my purse. So I'm folding it over the edge of my purse, just like so, all the way around. All the way around. If you already saw the next step, I already did one side. There's my next step I want to show you in a minute, but I'm going to fold it all the way around and pin it. And then what are we going to do? We're going to sew that down. So I'm just pinning it down all the way around. And then we're going to sew that down. Let me continue to pin all the way around. Pinned all the way around. Now I'm going to go over and top stitch all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and top stitch that edge all the way around. I'll put that aside and I'll be doing that in a little bit. But first, let's move on to the next step. Here is my strap. What are we doing with the straps? We're folding it right sides together and pinning at the raw edge, and we're going to sew it into a tube, a strap. So we're gonna sew at the edge over here. We're gonna sew up, over. We'll leave a gap where we can turn it inside out, right side out, and keep going all the way down and over. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Let me do that. And if you want, all right, I'm leaving that edge raw, couple of inches, and moving on all the way down. You can see I'm just sewing that raw edge. You can do this with a serger as well. Sometimes I do it with a serger. I don't know why I did it with a sewing machine. Doesn't matter either way. Turning right here at the corner. All right. That did not work. My sewing machine was trying to eat it. Go back and forth and take out. If you want your straps to be very nice and the corners very good, you can trim around your sewing, and you can actually use shearing scissors and just like trim all the way around so it's not bulky. I don't think it's that big of an issue for me, so I'm just trimming just at the corners and that's it. We're gonna go where we left that 2-inch gap, open it up and turn our strap, turn it all around. Turn that strap around, and sometimes I use like a ruler or a pen or whatever I have and poke it out so my edges poke out real good. You gotta turn the whole thing around. And once you do that, if you want to top stitch it, you can go ahead and top stitch it. It's up to you. I probably will not. I am lazy, and if I don't have to do it, I won't. And let me tell you, I have tools to do this, but I don't know. I literally lost it like a few days ago. No, I said a few days ago. I lost it a little while ago in my sewing room because I didn't take it out anywhere and I cannot find it. So like I use everything I can to turn it. So sometimes I just use my sewing machine tweezers, you know, my serger tweezers, and I just go in there and pull it out. Whatever you gotta do, however you want to do it. Like I said, I do have a tool. Lost it. How do you lose things in your sewing machine? You tell me. Don't tell my husband because he'll give me a whole spiel about how if you were organized, and then I'll go in his garage, and his garage is a mess. So if he was more organized, then maybe I would be more organized as well. Probably not. And it's not like I'm a total mess. It's just that I'm a little mess. Are you a mess, or are you like very organized with your sewing utensils and everything? I tried, you know, I try to keep them in. There's a certain drawer where I keep most of my odds and end things that I use on a regular basis. It's not working. And I try to keep everything in there, like my ruler and my trimming scissors and stuff like that. But then I use them and I put them somewhere and I don't remember where, and that's when disaster strikes and I forget about it. All right, well, maybe I should have let you go for this part because this is taking quite a while. All right, so I'm gonna turn it all the way around. Sometimes they come super easy and then sometimes they give me a hard time like this one. I'm gonna turn it all the way around, and after I do that, you can top stitch it if you want all the way around. You don't have to. I probably won't. And then I'll show you the next step. Let me just continue with this. All right, finally, I turned it all the way around. I'm going to steam it down straight, and then I'm just gonna go in with a straight stitch. Right here where I left that gap, I'm tucking it in. You won't even see it. I'm gonna go with a straight stitch and close it up. Just close that gap up. And that's it for your strap. I went ahead while I left you, so that way you didn't have to sit there and watch me the whole time. I stitched that on, as you can see right there, and it went all the way to the back, stitched it on. I'm gonna go back later, I haven't yet, pull all those gathering stitches out. It looks like a tall glass of lemonade, some kind of lemonade. So now, how do we attach the bands? So you can do, the way that the pattern tells you to do is you can do a buttonhole on the side, which is what I've done on this side. A 1.5 inch buttonhole on each side. Make sure you gather everything. Or you can do snaps if you want to put a snap on your strap. If you don't want to do either of those, just sew it on. You can even sew it onto the inside if you want. Just a little straight stitch right there to the inside would be just fine. But for the look that we're going for, that's why we did the what do you call it, things? Buttonhole. So you can make a little knot right here, and there is your strap on the side. So what I did is on my sewing machine, I have my foot for my buttonhole. I set it on my buttonhole, and I do it for a button that's 1.5 inches wide. I mean long, wide, whatever it's called. But if you don't have it, a buttonhole, really all the buttonhole does is a zigzag stitch back and forth over itself, basically. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth up, and then close it up, and then back and forth down, and then close it up. That's basically what it does right there. You see it? And then what I do is I grab my rotary cutter and I just go right on top of it and I push down on my sewing machine. I mean, not my sewing machine, on my cutting table, and that opens it. And then I'm gonna stick my strap through there and make a a knot, and we are finished. That wasn't too bad, was it? That was actually really neat. And our handbag is finished. I'm gonna close it together, and here it is. How stinking cute is this thing? All right, now all I've got to do is go back and pull out all my threads, and I'm finished. I hope you had a great time. It's basically reversible other than the front of the pocket. But anyway, I hope you had a great time, and I hope you had fun sewing with me. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you haven't, please subscribe to our channel so you can see everything that we're sewing up, and let us know that you subscribed so you can be entered to win the fun fan giveaway, and you can get $50 Ellie and my gift certificate to buy all these awesome patterns. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!